Hey guys, it's Russell back, and on today's video I am going to be testing and reviewing Optimum Car Wash. This is one of the probably top 5 car soaps that we have to do on our Amazon Soap Fest, and I'm very excited to see what it can do. Optimum has been around for a while. You've probably heard them for the Optimum No Rinse. They have a whole line of several different solutions that you can use as a no rinse car wash, as a clay bar lubricant and detail spray. I actually use the Optimum diluted with distilled water as a detail spray sometimes. This pretty much reads like all the other soaps with one exception. The dilution ratio is half of what it is on our other soaps. It's only 1/2 ounce per gallon. We're still going to be using our MTM submachine gun style foamer. For the foam portion of the test, we'll be using 2 ounces of the Optimum in 10 ounces of warm water. For our bucket test, instead of using 1 ounce per gallon, which usually comes out to 3 ounces in the bucket, we'll be using 1.5 ounces to keep the dilution ratio the same. People probably ask, well, why are you changing the dilution ratio? Why don't you change it in the foam cannon? Well, because I've always used 2 ounces for all these tests, irregardless of what it says in the bucket. Remember that this car soap and almost all car soaps really are not designed for the MTM or any foam cannon. You can use them in there, but they're not really designed, and the dilution ratio is really settled out in a hand wash. So we're going to be keeping with that same dilution ratio using this. Anyway, it's a little cooler than it has been. It's about 65 degrees outside. It's very sunny, so hopefully that won't affect the car test at all. I've talked enough. Let's see what this Optimum can do.
There's actually, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, there's a lot of sap on the car. You run your hand across it, obviously you can't see it, but there's just tree sap all over here. Okay. For those of you worried, no, that did not scratch the paint.
Alright, we've got 10 ounces of warm water and 2 ounces of Optimum. Let's see how this foams.
Alright, the first thing that you notice is that it goes on really, really thick, but it starts to run very quickly also. I'm denoting a lot of lubrication in that, which is good. As far as the foam structure, it looks like it's made up of a mixture of small and medium size cell bubbles. And I gotta tell you one thing, this This is a very, very grape smelling solution. So I'm going to let this sit on here for about 6 minutes and we'll come back and see what it does. Alright, so here we are back at the 6-minute mark, and we can see that the horizontal surfaces are still pretty much, at least the hood is about 90%, the windshield and the top about 88%. Now, 88, I meant about 80. Now if you'll look, the sides is pretty much dissipated, and I would say, I don't know, 25%'s left. So let's go ahead and rinse this off and see if there are any degradation of our paint sealant, and if it rinses clean without any residue. Okay, this is one of those car washes that when you apply it as a foam and it dries and dissipates on the surface, it reactivates when you hit it with water. So it actually removed almost all of the sap that was on here. I'm feeling just a little bit. I gotta tell you, it was a pain to wash off, pain to rinse. As we expect from doing this, we do have a removal of the non-bonded contaminants, and it certainly did not remove any of our wax or sealant protection, where in this case it's just the Adams liquid paint sealant. People always ask me what's on the car. You have a good sealant on there or wax, it will exhibit properties like a high water beading. It will sheet off easy. It's most noticeable when you drive. The water pretty much just rolls right off. So you can, if you have a really good surface like this, really slick, you can pretty much take a leaf blower, compressed air, or whatever, and almost dry the car just by blowing it off. Alright, so let's get our hand bucket set up and do the bucket portion of the test and see what kind of foamage we get with the Optimum in a bucket. Alright, I'm going to have to apologize again because I thought the camera was recording. It had 75% battery life left. Apparently the battery that I use is bad. So I've already added 1.5 ounces to the bucket as I normally do. I wanted to show you guys the viscosity of this. And this is probably one of the thickest car soaps I think I've ever seen. So I'm going to put that back in there. As far as the scent of this is like an intense, it's intensely grape. If you're into the smell of a car soap, I believe you'll like this. As far as the
you know, most of the soap is sitting on the bottom of the 1.5 ounces I already poured in there. And there's not much lubricity yet to the water. I'm going to go ahead and agitate this with the pressure washer and see what kind of foamage we get. Alright, so the foam in the bucket is very dense. It's mostly made up of small and medium cell foam bubbles. There's a few large ones involved here. Ironically, there is a little slickness, but not a lot. It's not as much as I thought it would be. I kind of would have thought that this car soap would have had a little bit more slickness, but I mean there is some in there, but just not a whole lot. Alright, and again, if you like the smell, even the bubbles have a very intense grape smell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my 4 wash mitts that we're going to use to wash the car, and we're going to go ahead and perform a hand wash. Alright, so I want to give you my final thoughts on the Optimum Car Wash. I think it's a good middle-of-the-road wash. I was a little disappointed in the slickness that was felt in the water. I think that may be alleviated if you doubled the amount. Just go ahead and use 1 ounce per gallon. But it did a good job. It did what you would ask a wash to do. It did remove all the sap. And as far as a foam, it's middle of the road. The wash, I think, is a good, solid middle tier wash. I don't think you can go wrong with it. I think there are better car washes out there, but if this is your flavor, then certainly by all means continue to use it. I will continue to use what I have. Would I buy it again? I don't know, maybe. It doesn't do anything super great. It does what you ask a wash to do, and I guess in all reality that's what you paid for. So anyway, I'm going to continue to do these reviews provided the weather holds out, and I will see you guys on the next video.